Bucka here with Midwest Muscle Report, July 3rd, day after Tim Gardner's Wings of Strength. And we get a chance to sit down and visit with Stephen Mass. Stephen, how are you, bud?
Good, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Now, you competed this weekend.
That's right.
You were in first call-outs.
We're in the first call-out group. There were 7 of us.
Yeah. You looked fantastic. I was sitting front row. Definitely thought you were going to be right there in the mix in the middle 3. They moved you guys around a lot. What were you feeling?
Well, you know, when they first lined us up, I think the initial lineup is I was in the middle. So then you kind of sit there and you hope, like, they keep you in the middle.
Right.
You know, you're like, maybe they just won't move me. And, you know, then they start moving us around. They worked us pretty good. And I ended up out, I guess you call it the wing. We were on the outside. Like I said, there were 7 of us. So at that point, I left prejudging thinking, well, maybe I'm probably sitting 6th or 7th. But the best I can do is just try to keep it tight. Come in the evening. Maybe if I look a little better, a little fuller, a little tighter, something, you know, things can change.
Right.
There's always a chance. So, finals came around, and they did put. I actually think I was in the middle 5, but they didn't do it like that. They ended up picking the 5 guys to the left, and then us 2 on the right were the 6 and 7.
Which is very, very extraordinary because you usually don't see that.
Right.
So I was a little surprised myself, but things shake out how they are. You're a veteran to the pro stage.
Right.
How many shows have you done now?
This was my 18th, but it was my 15th IFBB show.
Okay, wow. So it's a lot of shows. So this is nothing new to you.
Right.
You know, it's just another day at work.
That's right.
So to speak. What do you got planned to do next?
Well, I told myself if it would have taken a high placing, at least a top 3 at this show, to pursue the Olympia this year. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I know that the date is different this year, as they're going to start, I think, on August 13th, applying those shows after that date towards the 2017 Olympia.
Correct.
So I might attempt that. I might wait till right after the Olympia and maybe try to get a head start on that before the holidays.
All right. Okay.
And jump into that. So
now you have competed at the O in the past.
I have.
So you have had a taste of that stage.
That's right.
So you've got to be hungry.
Yeah, it'd be great to get back there.
What has the critiques been on what you need work on?
I didn't get any for this show yet. The previous show I did 2 weeks ago was that they would like to see me come in a little fuller. So we changed a couple things. Naturally, over the course of there was 2 weeks in between these 2 shows, I came in more conditioned, and I felt I came in fuller. I was probably a pound or 2 up, and yeah, I thought I brought it this week. I thought I had it. I thought I was going to get a higher placing. So fuller, it's always something minor that it never is. It's never something major that I have to go back to the drawing board and really change a bunch of stuff. Conditioning is something that I'm just genetically not a really lean guy, so I work really hard for it.
Right.
And the last couple of years is something I've really tried to come in and bring, and I've actually had compliments on it from the judges. So that wasn't the case. It's just a little more fullness.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, you know, we're always a work in progress, no matter what division it is. That's one of the great things about this sport.
Right.
Is there is no such thing as a perfect physique. It's very similar to golf. You can always be a little bit better.
Yep.
A little bit better. So it's back to the lab.
Back to the lab.
Retool.
Yeah.
Re-energize.
Yeah, I think the when you know the fullness thing, it could really mean a little more size, just in general, you know, not necessarily carbing up more, as most people would say. That's how you come in fuller, you know. I think, you know, maybe it's just got to put a couple more pounds on.
Adding a couple more pounds and maybe tweaking what you do in your last 48 hours. There's a lot of schools of thought, you know, with guys talking about, do they load up on cheat meals or load meals? Mm-hmm. You know, there's other coaches that believe you stay with the foods that you've been eating all during prep.
Yep.
Some people sodium load. Some people don't believe in sodium. There is no right or wrong way.
Right.
There's absolutely no right or wrong way. It's what way works best for you.
Right.
So it's obviously something, even though you're a veteran,
Yeah.
it's something you're still trying to learn for your physique yourself. What kind of advice can you give to some new up-and-coming athletes when they're trying to figure out their body, or people who jump from coach to coach to say, well, my coach didn't bring me in this show, so I got to find another coach. And the next show, you know, I didn't finish in the top 5. I got to go find another coach.
Yeah.
Always wanting to play the blame game. What advice would you give these guys?
Well, it's funny. It's like, and even if you find that right formula, you nail it. Let's say you nail it for a show. You know, a couple months later or a couple weeks later, your body's always in a different state. So you can never really repeat that exact thing. If you see guys bring different conditioning every year. You know, you have one year where, you know, you might show up just your most peeled. Well, you can't follow that same process that you did that final week or 48 hours if you're coming in less conditioned. You know, you might have had to deplete more that week, so the 48 hours before has to be different.
Right.
For me personally, I find that I tend to stick with the foods that I've been eating the whole prep. I don't try to do extreme manipulations. The goal is to be ready a week out. The goal is that you don't have to do anything drastic that final week. So I tend to try to cruise right on in and just eat a little bit more food. Eat more food those following days. I don't manipulate the sodium. I keep the sodium in. I salt every meal. Just lightly, but just keep it steady. Sometimes, you know, drastic water manipulation that can flatten you out. So I tend to keep the water pretty constant those last couple weeks. And then maybe pull it a little bit that final day, but nothing drastic where I'm dropping it for multiple days in a row. Or crazy diuretics and things like that. You know, you want to, that's why you find a lot of people look their best a week or two out when they're doing their normal routine. So that would be my best advice. Nothing crazy at the end, because it's a big hit or miss. It's a big risk.
Right. Now that's coming from a veteran of the stage, guys. Again, there is no right or wrong way. It's finding what works best for your physique. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to catch up with you. It was good to talk to you. Hopefully we'll get to see you again soon.
Yes, sir.
And until next time, Mandus Buckle from Midwest Muscle Report signing out.